So tell me if y'all remember this song. Hey, babe, come on over here. Tell me how you doing. Doom, 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 doom. Got a big ego, such a huge ego. And I love his big ego. It's too much. You walk like this because he could back it up. Okay, so we all know that I am good at many things, but singing is not one of those things that I'm good at. It came over me this morning that I am different. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. I am shown many signs every day how I am different. Because when I think about the ego, I think about it in reverse. I guess it's because I'm an optimist. Maybe it's the Libra woman in me. I don't really know. But as I hang around more and more people and have conversations with different individuals, I can see their ego and I can see the reflection of my ego. And then I look back at their ego and it is my ego, my energy overpowers a lot of people. It's like a lot of people are not confident. They don't wear their confidence out. And I don't mean confidence like just from the aspect that I know I'm the ish. I mean confidence like people don't feel comfortable with talking about themselves. You know, people don't feel comfortable with giving themselves a pat on the back or saying the things that they've done that they're proud of. People are not confident enough to compliment other people. And I think that's where my personality and my character makes me very different. I stand out. I'm different. And I think that is my greatest attribute, that I allow my ego to be present with me. Now, traditionally, when we hear the word ego, we think of negativity, right? We think of somebody that is full of themselves, that's selfish, they don't think about anybody else or all of that. Is there a possibility that we only see that aspect and because that's the only aspect of individuals that's the only way that the word ego has been traditionally used? Is it possible that there could be a wonderful person who is down to earth, who is great, who is giving, who is caring, compassionate, all of those things, and you can attach ego driven or the word ego to their names as well? Is it possible? Is it possible that you can have an ego and allow your ego to work for you? Let's talk about the alter ego, right? There are people like Beyonce who have an alter ego, and her name is Sasha Fierce. Now, why is it called an alter ego? Because it is something that is within you, right? Something that is within you that is another aspect of you. It's like you to the 100th power, right? That person, you in your normal skin, you wouldn't say those things that that person would say. You wouldn't do those things that that person would do. You wouldn't hang around those particular type of people. You wouldn't be as sexy. You wouldn't be as vivacious. You wouldn't be as vibrant. But at the end of the day, isn't that still you? It's an alter ego. It's a different energy. So it leads me to believe that, like every single thing in this world, ego is just an energy. It exists, it coexists in this world with us. When we hear ego, I know, like in the spiritual world, in the religious world, we hear ego, ego, edging God out. Okay, I get it. 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 I get the point that individuals are trying to make, but also I don't agree from the foundation of how society has made us think it's um that it's better to do for others than to do for yourself, that you should put others before you, that it's better to give than to receive. I don't agree with the basis of that either. Now, I know that this is a very unpopular opinion, but that's what you come here for, right? You come here for a different perspective, another way of thinking about things. And I need to try to continue looking at you and not let the screensaver on the television to captivate me, because I was about to make up my bed and get my day going, and I thought I just have to come on and be real about this. So, edging God out, I understand what this is supposed to do. I understand the ideology behind saying these things and allowing people to be selfless and all of that. But the reality of it is that you are God. You cannot edge God out. You can't edge God out. It's either you are in full alignment with yourself, the God version of you, or you're not, but you're never going to edge God out. You can never edge God out. When you edge God out, you don't exist, and you will always exist. You may not exist in the flesh form, but the energy of who you are will always exist because you have the energy of God, right? And I think it's very important for us to know the definition of things, because by us just going with the traditional definitions of things and not really defining things ourselves. I love etymology, and it just comes natural for me to want to know the definition to certain words. If you are like that, and if you have been a rebel against, not really against society, but taking what society has brought you and casting your own interpretation on it, your own judgment, your own ideals on what it is, because not that it's wrong for everybody, but it just may not be right for you, and that is okay. It is okay for you to have an opinion that, okay, I dig it. If it works for you, it works for you. But this is what works for me, and this doesn't work for me, Define the word ego.
Here's the definition of ego: a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance.
I'm gonna ego, a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. What's wrong with that? What's wrong? What? Let me read it again. Hold on. A person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Another word for ego is self-esteem. Another word for ego is self-importance. Those are synonyms, right? An inflated feeling of pride in your superiority to others. The I or self of any person. A person as thinking and feeling and willing and distinguishing itself from the selves of others and from objects of its thought. Okay? Ego, the idea or opinion that you have of yourself, especially the level of your ability and intelligence and your importance as a person. Okay, so I just wanted to let's just stick with the first definition. And the first definition that Google offers is ego, a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Is that what you thought that ego was? No, I seriously doubt that that is the definition that you would come up with off the top of your dome of the word ego. I think that you would think that ego is a person that is selfish. They're all about themselves. They'll step on anyone to get what they want. They think that the world revolves. But darling, as you see, the definition that Google offered us is so much opposite of that. It's your ego is your awareness of self, your awareness of your self-importance, your awareness of of where you are, how you are, and all of these things. And the drip from your ego, it shows in your character. It shows if you are a confident person. It shows if you okay, I'm trying to make sure we're good. Okay, it shows if you know that you are enough. It shows if you compare yourself to others. All of this has to deal with the ego. And the ego is not edging God out. It's the total opposite. The ego is acknowledging the God within you. What did Google say? Acknowledging awareness of your self-esteem, acknowledging an awareness of your self-importance, knowing that you are the I, knowing that you are the I am. Right? So I'm here to tell you today that if you have in your head that you don't want to you want to dim your light, you want to be humble. Do you know the definition of the word humility? It's to undervalue yourself and overvalue something else. What are we doing? Why are we being humble? Now, I'm not saying go out here and be disrespectful, because at some point I feel like humility has to, I think you should always value yourself high. So I don't really like the idea of practicing humility in the way that we do it, that society has taught us. But I do believe in respect, right? I do believe in respect. And if you are around somebody older, it's not about being humble. It's about wanting to get all the knowledge and wisdom that they have. And you just tone yourself. You don't talk as much as you normally would, because it's time for you to listen. That's respect. That's respecting them, and that's respecting yourself. I don't like, as far as being bodacious and bragging and all of that type of stuff. Like, bragging is kind of like, it's unnecessary. But I don't feel like you should be so humble to where you can't be proud of the things that you have. But boasting and bragging about what you have, I think that's something totally different. But I'm not going to be humble and not show you what I have just because I know that you have something 10 times bigger or better than what mine would be. No, I'm going to be proud for what I've created. I'm not going to be humble about it. And humility has nothing to do with it. I think that humility is not equivalent to the opposite of bragging. So if you're not humble, it doesn't mean that you're a person who just brags. You know what I'm saying? If you're not humble, that means that you're not a person who values others more than you value yourself. But I feel like there's a time and a place for all of this. We don't know. We have these ideals and beliefs about things, and we haven't even validated them, guys. We have yet to validate them. There is nothing wrong with the ego. You are supposed to be aware of yourself. You are supposed to walk in the elegance of that God source. You are supposed to be confident. And while you're doing that, you're lifting other people up around you because they're watching you. Those who know. You know what I'm saying? Those, like, if I come in contact with another bad chick and I smell her confidence, oh, I'm about to be with it. I'm like, okay, so she know who she is. He knows who he is. Like, it's like a different energy. Remember, ego, just like everything else, is an energy. So that is the person that I'm going to be attracted to, because I know that they are going to challenge me to be better than what I am. I am not going to be like, well, here we go again, and all of that type of stuff. No, because ego has nothing to do with that. That has nothing to do with, ego has everything to do with you being the highest version of yourself. Now, there may be some other issues you need to work on. Like, you may not consider others, and it might be a type of repetitive type of action where it's like me. But if you have the type of ego that I have, my type of ego is I'm full within myself. I know who I am, so I'm going to say what I like. I'm going to say what I don't like. I'm going to say yes or no. But my sense of my character that has been established along with my ego is, what would you like? What do you want to do? It's also a very lackadaisical type of assurance to know that I can be happy given almost any situation. That is how sure I am of myself. My type of ego wants to please and pleasure you, because I feel like I've been here before and I've done all of this. All of this is mine. Remember, that's my self-esteem. This is my self-importance. I know that everything is supposed to line up and be the path is supposed to be paved out for me. I know that. I already got that covered. Check. I already know that it's expected, and 99.9% of the time it happens. If you go out with me, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have good service. We're going to have good conversation. All of this is already prepared for me because I am in tune with thyself. I already have these expectations. So since my ego has everything on track, my energy has everything on track. I already checked my energy before I left the house, before I got out the car, and all of that. I didn't already segment intended. And what segment intended is your life has a bunch of different segments all day, every day. You're changing scenes. People are coming in, people are coming out. And every time that happens, you can segment intend. You can intend the energy, the excitement. You can basically pre-pave a situation right before it happens by casting out what you desire from your mouth, from your feelings, and casting it out into the world and saying, this is what it's going to be. This is all I'm attuning to. I'm only attuning to laughter, fun, excitement, joy. This is going to be a marvelous situation. You know what I'm saying? So since my ego already has taken care of all of that, my energy, ego, energy of self, self-awareness has already taken care of that. I'm here to pleasure you and kind of like serve you, or what the world calls being humble. my humility right now is to you, because I'm already got everything I need locked and loaded and under control.
The part of the psychic apparatus that experiences and reacts to the outside world and thus mediates between the primitive drives of the id and the demands of the social and physical environment. 2. Egotism, conceit, self-importance. 3. Self-esteem or self-image, feelings. 4. The enduring and conscious element that knows experience. 5. The complete person comprising both body and soul. 6. A person who serves as the central reference point in the study of organizational and kinship relationships.
Ego is a beautiful thing. How could we take something so beautiful? I think that it has a lot to do with religion. In some of the religious doctrines or the religious practices, because in religion, how I was raised as a Christian is that God comes first, and then the husband, and then the wife, and then the children, right? But from the ideals that I have embodied now is that God does come first, because I am God. I am source. I am connected to the energy, the body of God. I am the I am. So you're right, God does come first. But when you don't feel like you have embodied that God energy, or you are a part of that God energy, when you feel like you are separate from the God, when you feel like you are separate from your highest self, I don't know how else to say it. When you feel like there's something else in between you, like there's this big, powerful being, and this is what they taught us. Like there's this big, powerful being who has all the answers, who knows all and all that. And then underneath that is his son, and then underneath that is you. You feel like, well, I have no power or control at all. I got to go through this, that, and the other in order to get, and I got to beg, and I have to ask. But when you embody the idea that you are connected to that, even if you can't fully believe that I am God, because it seems like so spooky or whatever, if you can just embody the fact that I am worthy enough to play a part in that, it gives you a bit more confidence. It makes you feel protected. It makes you feel powerful. It makes you feel that all things are supposed to work out for me. It makes you feel like you are worthy to be praised, and you're worthy to give praise. Okay? You're worthy to give and receive. Both. It makes you feel like you can never edge God out. You know? Ego is such a beautiful thing, from the aspect that you don't feel like you're less than. So I get it. I get it when we feel like we're separate from the creator, instead of acknowledging that we create. When we feel like that, it's easy for us to fall victim to the possibilities that we ain't shit. But when we realize that we are the shit, that's when the ego takes that alter ego comes out. It takes a whole nother conception. It's rebirthed, and it turns into something so marvelous and so beautiful. And it's right. It's right. It's good. Like the idea that all things just exist. They're not good nor bad. They just exist. And our interpretations, our perceptions of them, our experiences, other people's experiences that have been given to us that we carry on our shoulders, make them good or bad. Just to us. Just to us. And ego is definitely one of those things that I think that you should reconsider. I think that you should definitely reconsider it. So I'm on this website, and it's antonym.com. Okay, so an antonym is opposite of a word. Ego. Antonyms for ego is humility, forgot, non-intellectual, stupidity. Opposite of ego is to be humble, to overvalue something else and undervalue yourself. The opposite of ego is to forget, forgot. Okay? The opposite, let me go back. The opposite of the word ego is non-intellectual. Non-intellectual. The opposite of the word ego is stupidity. Come on now. You must know yourself. You must know who you are. You must know that you add value to any situation, that you have the power to add value to any situation, to all situations. Just by you being present. And if you tap into the highest version of yourself, you will automatically add value to anyone or anything, even if it's just through a conversation. So I want to give you permission. Well, I want you to give yourself permission. And this is what the permission slip says. All right. And you have to sign it and you have to date it. The permission slip says that I, Kiana Divine, and you put your name, I give myself permission to live within my ego. I give myself permission to acknowledge who I am, to not be ashamed, to not be timid. I give myself permission to be confident. I give myself permission to be brave. I give myself permission to tap into my highest energy, my ego, before I interact with other people, so that naturally I would want to cater to them and put them first and acknowledge them and still not allow any of that to take away from who I am. I give myself permission to be proud of the things that I have accomplished. I give myself permission to be proud of the knowledge that I have absorbed. I give myself permission to live within my ego, which means to live in the highest version of who I am. To live within the God force of me. I am here. I am here. I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but while I am here, I am going to be aware of my self-importance, of my relevance. And today forth, I see my ego as something to be proud of. I see my ego as a badge of honor. And my ego doesn't have to be intentionally flaunted in front of other people. It shows naturally by the way that I talk, the way that I walk, how I look, how my back sits up straight, the wonderful conversation that comes out of my mouth, and my dignity and morals that have been embedded within me. I love my ego. I love my importance. I love my relevance. I love who I am, and I am only getting better. I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Check out the links in the description box below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.